Welcome to BoardBank training. In today's session, I'm going to provide an overview of the BoardBank concept, give you a little bit of information about the community partners who are supporting BoardBank. We'll do a demo of the BoardBank tool, both from a candidate and from a nonprofit perspective, and we'll touch on key dates that you need to know to get started. So welcome to BoardBank. This is a great opportunity for us to connect interested board candidates with nonprofits looking for qualified board members. BoardBank started as an initiative with United Way of Greater Cincinnati and quickly expanded to be a community-wide collaborative effort. As you can see, we have a number of very strong community partners who are contributing interest and their thought leadership to this project, as well as tying it together with their board leadership programs as well. So we're very excited to see this program move forward and very grateful for the help and participation of these additional community partners. So the BoardBank concept is pretty straightforward. We have qualified candidates that are looking to serve on boards. And we have nonprofit boards that are looking for qualified candidates. So what we're doing is creating the connection between those candidates and the board opportunities. That creates this central regional repository for board placements. Really becomes a strong community resource. In basic terms, think of it as LinkedIn meets Match.com, but for nonprofit board placements. So how does this work? So let's start with the nonprofit perspective. The nonprofit will create a profile in BoardBank, basically outlining information about the nonprofit. Then they'll identify individual board or committee openings. And they'll identify the qualifications that they're looking for to fill those seats. At the same time, we have individual candidates who are creating their profiles, identifying the areas of interest they have to serve on boards, and talking about the qualifications that they bring, that they'll be able to contribute to those board seats. And then they'll have the opportunity to search the openings that the nonprofits have created. Behind the scenes, the system also does some work. The system begins to identify matches between those individual candidates and the openings that the nonprofits have posted. The system will prioritize those matches and make them visible to the candidate, who can then identify which ones they might be interested in following up with, which will notify the nonprofit agency, and the connections begin. So let's talk a little bit about timing. First thing we need is to have some open postings for those board and committee seats in the system, and that's where you come in. We're starting with United Way Greater Cincinnati affiliated nonprofits. You'll be the first to use the system. You'll be adding your post to the system between now and May 18th. May 18th is an important date because that's when we have our first group of candidates entering the system, and we want to make sure we have some opportunities in there for them to match with. As a nonprofit, you can continue to add additional seats, open postings, whenever is needed in the system. So May 18th isn't the only time, but that's what we're really aiming for, to have a robust set of opportunities in BoardBank for our first set of candidates. Later in the summer, the nonprofits that were affiliated with the other partner organizations that you saw earlier in the presentation, they'll also begin using the system. And when will the candidates come in? So the United Way Spring Bold class, which is a leadership and board training program, they'll be our first candidates in the system. There are about 30 people, and they're going to be trained on May 18th, and they'll immediately start matching with posts. So please make sure your posts are in the system by then, and you'll have an opportunity to connect with those first 30 candidates in the system. In June, an additional 500 alumni that are alumni of the BOLD program will also be invited to begin using BoardBank. And then later in the summer, all the graduates of all the other board training programs from the partner organizations will also be invited to begin using BoardBank. So by the end of the summer, we're looking forward to having a very robust set of candidates and open board positions in the system that we can create those matches with. So let's walk through the process again. At a high level, nonprofit will go in and create a post for any open board seat indicating the needed skills. The candidates will complete profiles indicating their interests and their skills. The BoardBank tool will automatically match a subset of posts to each candidate. Candidate will review those matches, but they can also search for additional opportunities that may not have matched directly, but might be in their area of interest. Once the candidate identifies the openings that they're most specifically interested in, they'll look at those posts and they'll request to connect with the nonprofit that posted the opportunity. The nonprofit will get an email letting them know that they've had a connection request, and they'll be able to go in the system and connect directly. They'll connect with that individual via phone or email, and they can look at their profile in the system and see what match and what qualifications they bring. After the nonprofit has an opportunity to look at all the potential candidates and determines the best fit, they'll identify that person on the post and close the post. Again, both parties will be notified in email, and the system will keep track of who was placed in which open board position. So let's talk a little bit more specifically about what actions the nonprofit needs to take. The first step is going to be to create a login and that nonprofit profile. Once the profile is completed, you'll have the opportunity to create your first post. It's important to remember there's only one post per open seat, board position, or committee position. Posts can be created and saved in draft form. So if you start a post but you're not quite ready to publish it, you have the opportunity to save it as a draft. Or you can publish it, which makes it available for candidates to see. You can also copy posts. So if you have two very similar board seats, you can create the one, and then you'll be able to copy it over to create the second board seat, so you don't have to re-enter all that same information. Once a post is published, then it's visible to the candidate for searching and matching. So the candidates will take time in the system. You'll get notifications via email that you've had requests to connect from those interested candidates, and then you follow up with them directly once you accept the request to connect and figure out if it's a good fit for the board or not. Again, once you identify the right candidate, you'll update the post with that candidate's name, and then you'll close the post. Okay, so it's time to get started. First thing we're going to do is go through a quick demo, and then you'll be able to go in and create your own profile and your first postings so you can get started filling those open board seats. As you can see here, it's very straightforward to get into the tool. BoardBankCincy with a Y.org. That's our URL. Anytime you click on that, it's going to take you straight into the BoardBank tool. So I'm going to walk you through a quick demo. Some of the information in the system is still from our testing, so bear with us. As you'll see, not all of the nonprofits are official nonprofits. Some of them have test names, and I'm the candidate. So be a little patient with us as we're using the test data. Next time we'll be able to show you all the robust information with your own openings and all the candidates that are using the system. So what you see here is the landing page for BoardBank. This is where you'll always start. When you come in, you have pretty much two calls to action. You're either a candidate looking for an opportunity, or you're a nonprofit. We're going to start with the candidate view because I'd like you to see what the candidate sees when you create a new post. So as a candidate, I have the opportunity to identify myself. Now I would create a new candidate registration and go through all this information. In the interest of time, we're going to sign into an existing account just so that you can see how these postings work. So I go into the system. Bear with me one second while I log in. And what you're seeing now is my dashboard. Remember, this is the view as a candidate, so I'm looking for board positions. So when I first log in, it remembers who I am, and this is my dashboard view. So you can see up here, it's my dashboard that I've landed on. Pretty basic information. This is letting me know that I have matched with two potential opportunities in the system. I have one pending connection, so I've asked for a connection for this one with Cincinnati Contemporary Jazz Orchestra. I haven't heard back yet. And I have 3 accepted connections where I reached out to Test Agency 1, St. Joseph Orphanage, and Woven Oak Initiatives and asked to connect, and each one of those nonprofits accepted my connection request. So as a candidate, I can come in and see the status of who I've matched with, where I'm pending a connection, and who's accepted my connections. I also have the opportunity to come in and look for additional opportunities. I can search by agencies or I can search by opportunities. If I search by opportunities, I have a lot of different ways to search. I can search by the causes that you indicate that your nonprofit is affiliated with. I can search on the skills that you're potentially looking for. I might be a finance person, but my degree is in marketing and I never get to use it. So I might naturally match to finance positions, but maybe I'm more interested in marketing positions this time. So I have the opportunity to search for things that I may not necessarily have matched with directly. I can ask based on the time commitment or even the financial contribution that you're looking for in your board members. These are all things that you'll be able to enter when you create your post. So if I go back to my dashboard, I'll show you what it looks like from their perspective. If I go in and I say these are one of the, the different ones I'm looking at, I can view a post. This is what your posts are going to look like. The title is at the top. And then as you scroll down, you can see there's an opportunity to put in board expectations, the time commitment, the financial contribution, and the skills needed for this position. As a candidate, I can also look at information about your agency, so I can view your parent agency profile. So this is where, when you create that initial profile, I can come in and see the agency. So here you see at the top, Woven Oak Initiatives is the nonprofit. I can see you have 4 open active opportunities or posts in the system. I can see the causes that you're focused on, the description of the organization, what the onboarding process is for your board members, and some high-level information about whether or not this is a mature or a new organization, how large the organization is, how many members are on your board, and what the overall budget size is. So there's a lot of information that I can get as a candidate looking at these individual opportunities. So if I go back to the individual opportunities in my dashboard, again, I can look at any of these postings, and as you create the postings, you'll create the information that you want the individuals to see. I also have a status here where you can see that I've already requested to connect with this position. Okay, so that's what the postings or the openings are going to look like from the candidate's perspective. So let's log in as a nonprofit and see what the view is going to look like from your perspective. So the first time a nonprofit logs in, you're going to see this nonprofit registration screen. What's going to happen is you'll fill in the basic information here, and it'll help walk you through it. And then after you register, it'll open up the individual fields for you to enter more information in your profile. So it'll walk you through the process of creating your profile and then give you the opportunity to create your first post. In the interest of time, we're going to go ahead and sign in to an active account so you can see what that looks like once the information is live. Bear with me 1 second while we do that. Okay, so now I'm Test Agency is the name of my nonprofit. As you can see, we still have test data in the system. But this would, again, identify the name of the nonprofit agency. You've landed here on your dashboard. This is where you'll come in every time you log in after your first time. The first time you log in, you're going to come through a series of screens that are going to ask you to outline the profile for your agency, your nonprofit, and then go through your first posting if you're ready. After that, every other subsequent time you log in, this is your dashboard, which you can also link to here at the top if you ever move off of the screen. And this is where you'll always start. It's going to give you an overview of your account. You can see in my test agency, I have 8 candidates that I've matched with. And I have 3 total board opportunities posted right now. Board member, committee chair finance, and another board member. So this gives me a summary of what my activity looks like in the system. You cannot see the matches as a nonprofit. So the candidate has the option to see all the nonprofits they match with. We will identify in the system, you'll be able to see how many matches you have and get a sense of whether or not you're matching with candidates, but you won't be able to see those matches until those individual candidates request a connection to get more information from you. So you can also see how many people have requested connections. So Tony, Sally, and Sally again have all requested to connect with me around one of the opportunities that I have posted in the system. So if I click this connect button, that'll connect me with them and give me the information for them on their profile. I also have a number of people that I'm already connected to. The candidate who just logged in a minute ago, we can see that person. We also have another, you can see some of this is test, individuals that have also requested. So these are active connections that I've made. Once you have a connection with somebody, you can go in and view their profile. So as a nonprofit, this is me now looking at somebody who's potentially interested in filling one of my board seats. They've identified what board seat I have posted they're interested in. And I can go through and get a little bit of information about them, where they work, what they do, what their relevant experience is, what skills they bring to the table, when they're available, what causes they're focused in, what their board interests look like. So there's helpful information for me to see how close of a match the candidate is when I first start looking at them. If I go back to my dashboard, again, I have the opportunity to see who's asking to connect with me, who I've already connected with. I also have the opportunity to look at my posts. If I click the post opportunity up here, it clicks out and it shows me I have a board member, a committee chair finance, and another board member. These are specific to my nonprofit. I can also go into view all posts and see my posts from that perspective. I can go into connections and also see where I have active connections with individuals, whether they're active or posting. So there's a number of different ways for how you can go in and view the information, whichever works best for you as you're navigating the system. So that's the basic walkthrough. Again, as a nonprofit, you'll have the ability to come in, create your profile, create an open post, and then wait for those individual pending connections to come in, and then you can reach out to those individuals in the system. You will be notified by email anytime you publish a posting. So if you have a post that's live, you'll be notified that it went live. And anytime a connection request has been put into the system, you will be notified in email. So you don't have to log into the system every day to see if you have more matches or if anybody's requested connections. You'll be notified on the email that you associate to your account that you've had that activity happening in the system, and then you can go in. So now we're ready. So here's the opportunity for you to go to boardbankcincy.org, enter your profile, and create your posts and start matching with active candidates. Thanks for participating today, and we're really looking forward to seeing you in BoardBank.